Hey, it's Monday night.
Yes, it is.
That means it's time for VOBS. We have a great guest tonight, as we do every week, but people are really stoked about this guy because we're going to talk about something that's really interesting. ADR and looping with Johnny Gidcomb. He's a director and all sorts of cool stuff. Plus, tech-wise,
we're going to talk about more things to not install.
Oh, fabulous. And we got a tech question, too, and something on DawView. So stay tuned. VOBS is up next.
Two men, twin sons from different mothers, with a passion for voiceover recording technology and the desire to make recording easy for voiceover actors everywhere. Studio engineer to the stars, a Virginia Tech grad with an unmatched knowledge of all the latest gear and technology in voiceover today. Dan Leonard, the home studio master, a voice actor with over 30 years experience in broadcasting and recording, and a no-holds-barred myth-busting attitude for teaching you how easy it is. Together, finally, to bring you all the latest technology, the superstars of voiceover today, and leading the discussion on how to make the most of your voiceover business. This is VoiceOver Body Shop.
VoiceOver Body Shop is brought to you by VoiceOverEssentials.com, home of Harlan Hogan signature products. Source Elements, makers of Source Connect, Source Connect Pro, and Source Connect Now. VO2GoGo.com, everything you need to become a successful voice artist. VoiceOver Extra, your daily resource for VO success. The VO Dojo, take your voiceover career all the way. J. Michael Collins Demos, when quality matters. And by VoiceActorWebsites.com, where your voice actor website shouldn't be a pain in the butt.
And now, live from their super secret multimedia studio in Sherman Oaks, California, here are George Whittam and Dan Leonard.
Good evening. I'm Dan Leonard.
And I'm George Whittam.
And this is VoiceOver
Body Shop.
or VOBS. Okay. Well, we've made it to another Monday night.
That's right. And I'm still here.
You're still here. You know, amazingly. We've been spilling things all over the place tonight, but I think everything is now stationary and quiet. Maybe
the hummus is in the bowl. The hummus is in the bowl.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. We're having an issue with celery sticks.
Watch the Facebook Live post from before the show if you want to know what we're talking about.
And we couldn't get them. I was about to go get a pair of forceps to get those out, you know?
Just watch it.
Yeah.
We won't go anywhere.
Right. Anyway, tonight, Johnny Gidcomb is with us. He is a director, and his specialty is ADR and looping. And
you're about to find out what the heck that means.
That's right. It's a voiceover thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's highly specialized and it's really cool and it's fun to do.
And you have no idea how often you hear it in a film that you've seen or a TV show.
Like
you hear
every film.
All the time.
Every film. And he's worked on some of the big ones. All the Planet of the Apes films, some stuff with Marvel.
And some he can't tell us about.
And some he can't tell us about.
That's right.
Which we're used to on this show.
That's the way it goes.
That's
NDRs are what they is.
That's right. Plus we have a tech question tonight about Source Connect, actually. And we have some stuff about stuff you don't want to install.
More stuff about stuff you don't want to install. It's probably too late for a lot of you, but I'll bring it up anyway.
Okay. And of course, if you have a question for us or a question for our guest, throw it in the chat room, and the amazing Jack Daniel, our social media director, will direct it back towards the two of us. And
if you're hanging out on Facebook, you can actually leave the comment as well. Jack is furiously opening the other window so we can look at the chat room questions in Facebook as well. And I'll keep an eye. I'll watch your back there, Jack.
Okay.
There's folks watching it on Facebook too, so we want to make sure we don't.
That's right.
They don't want to be feel left out.
Yeah. Do not be left behind. Yeah. All righty. Well, it is Monday, October 16th, and time for.
And now, the VoiceOver Extra VOBS News. The latest and most comprehensive voiceover industry news. Brought to you live.
Alrighty, it is the VoiceOver Extra News. Talent compensation. VoiceOver pay, or more formally, voice talent compensation. We seem to be always abuzz about it, online and at conferences and personal get-togethers. The general feeling is that the pay per job is dropping. What we need are solutions to this, says Jim Conlon, a veteran voice actor, audiobook narrator, and coach based in Houston, Texas. And after much soul-searching and discussions with agents and other colleagues, Jim concludes that we may be looking at the problem from the wrong perspective. It's not for the industry to fix, but rather up to us, each individual voice talent. George?
In a new article appearing tomorrow on VoiceOver Extra, Jim relates how to do that. First, he says, always remember that we are in a relationship business. Clients who value us the most are the ones who know us best. And those clients are happy to pay us what we're worth. And repeat business is much more likely from clients with whom we have such a relationship. Dan?
So, what's the problem? Jim says, I can't tell you what mine is. I still occasionally seek work through the painful and disheartening process of auditioning. And who are these auditions for? They're for people I don't know. People who often are looking for a deal first and good talent second. This leads to examining your business model and particularly where you focus your marketing.
That's right. Ask yourself these 5 questions. When am I compensated fairly for voiceover projects? What sort of client generally compensates us this way? How do I get booked for most of these projects? Where do the bulk of these projects come from? And how can I increase the number of these projects and reduce the rest? Jim says that for him personally, he's fairly compensated by clients with whom he has a relationship. So he suggests the following.
Market locally first. Connect with local production companies, advertising and marketing agencies, and companies and institutions that are responsible for their own communications. Only audition when it pays. Have a relationship business. And always remember that voiceover is a business. You'll find more of Jim's thoughts and advice on this article appearing tomorrow at voiceoverextra.com, your daily resource for voiceover success, and check out hundreds of additional articles and resources there. It's all free! Free!
And our new prompter is working great.
It is!
That's awesome. We have no idea how excited I am about that.
Yeah, boy, oh boy. It's not like going, well, it's going too fast! You just think that we're just saying this off the top of our heads.
Isn't it amazing? Don't we sound natural?
Absolutely.
It's like his job or something.
It is. So,
anyway. So what's going on in tech?
What's going on in tech?
Well, I've been hearing murmurings about iOS 11 being a bit of a pain in the neck. I think it depends on the carrier that you have, whether you've got it pushed to your phone by now or not. Which one are you on? Verizon, AT&T?
I'm on AT&T. They haven't nagged me about it.
They haven't nagged you about it yet? Okay. And Johnny, which one are you on?
I'm on AT&T.
Johnny's on AT&T. So I think it depends on what network you're on and what model of phone you have and a lot of different things. Because when Apple does a new version of something, they don't push it to everybody simultaneously. You can imagine the nightmare that would ensue if everybody on the entire network said, I'm downloading this 6 gigabyte update right now.
There would be smoke coming from Palo Alto.
It'd be a nightmare.
Right?
So they push it, they kind of roll it out. But I'm hearing some murmurings about iOS 11 not being so rock solid yet, that's just the way it goes. When they have new versions and they're supporting more and more older phones nowadays, like you can run iOS 11 back on like an iPhone, I think it's an iPhone 5? 6 for sure. I know it runs on a 6. Right. So, it's harder for them to support older phones. So just beware. If you can at all put it off, which is very hard to do because the phone companies keep bugging you to upgrade it, try to put off installing iOS 11 on your iPhone a little bit longer. There was a bug fix that came out very recently, so that may take care of it for a lot of you, but try to avoid it. Last week I said don't get high. I was talking about don't installing High Sierra. That still holds true. I'm still holding off on
Give it a month.
Yeah, give it a month at least. There was some update that they pushed out pretty rapidly after it came out because of some security problems. Something to do with how they could somehow, that little password hint thing where it says put a hint in about what your password is, well, that information would somehow get exposed to the user very easily. That means someone would have to have your computer physically to get into your stuff, but it's still kind of nerve-wracking.
Right.
So between that and what happened at Experian, you just want to be really careful out there right now.
Yeah. Just try unfreezing your account after you've frozen it.
Have you done that? Have you frozen your account?
Oh, absolutely.
I haven't done it. I guess I'm in that ignorance is bliss mode.
We'll see you.
Also, you tend to have some assets to protect, which I don't have a lot of right now. But anyway, whether you do or don't, you probably want to watch your back. Because,
absolutely.
What is it, 170 million people's information exposed on Experian?
Freaking Russians. If you're listening to this show, we know it's you. And they probably are.
They're pulling it on Sputnik. Right
yeah.
But, yeah, so...
Watch VoiceOver Body Shop.
Yes, watch out.
Every Monday.
Yeah. A little side note about microphones. Yes. I discovered an old friend in terms of microphones that turns out to be a great alternative for someone that's looking for a 416.
Okay.
But the price of a mic, a 416, is a little outside their reach.
About $1,000.
A lot of people have been falling back on the Rode NTG3.
I've heard,
the thing is, it looks like a 416, but it doesn't quite sound like a 416. It has a pretty different sound to it. It's more bottom heavy, not quite as bright. So it's not like an A/B swap. However, I discovered that the Audio-Technica AT4073A, not the little cheaper one I always talk about, the 875, which is a great throw in your bag, not worried about it getting broken mic. The 875R is like $180. This one, the 4073A, is roughly $500 to $700. Not cheap,
right?
But quite a bit more affordable than the Sennheiser, and it is a very good match for the Sennheiser 416.
Yeah.
It's a little bit smaller too. So it's a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
And I set one up for Lori Allen last week. I'm gonna have pictures from her new studio setup that we're working on. It's almost finished. It's very cute.
Is there going to be like a launch party?
Yeah, we're going to see how many people can fit in the booth. It is 18 and a half inches deep. Like you stand sideways in it like this, but it works. But anyway, we put one up for her to use portably as her stunt mic instead of her taking her valuable 416 on the road, and it seems to have proven itself quite nicely.
Interesting to note, I talked to somebody this week who sent me a voiceover sample, which you can do by going to homevoiceoverstudio.com and clicking on the Specimen Collection Cup. But he said he had a Sennheiser 600.
Just 600?
Yeah, which is a much shorter barreled shotgun mic.
Right.
And I'm like, well, it should be interesting. I listened to it. He sounds like he's on a video.
Oh, yeah? I mean, is that in a good thing? Or
no, it wasn't. There's no bottom end at all.
Oh, it was very thin.
Right.
Yeah.
Very thin. But he was in an office and he's like, well, I need the side rejection and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't know if that's the optimum mic for voiceover.
Some of the mics are a little thin, so they work good in a small booth, which are very boxy sounding.
Right.
And other mics that are too bass heavy won't work well in a small booth.
Right.
So it just depends. The other cool thing the 473 has that the 416 doesn't have is it has a low cut switch on it. So you can flick the little low cut, and it will help
get rid of the
filter
rumble.
out some rumble when you're doing those hotel blanket over the head,
with the Coke machine out in the hallway,
that kind of thing. So you might want to check that out. But
absolutely,
it's a great mic.
Okay, all right, we're totally geeking out here, but that's why you come, right?
Hey, what's the matter?
What's the matter? Yeah, Johnny Gidcomb is our guest. We're going to be talking about ADR and looping, and in our next segment, we're going to look at some software that you debuted on here a few months ago, but we want to take a closer look at it and show people something that's really simple. So stay tuned. We'll have all that and more right after these messages.
As a voice talent, you have to have a website. But what a hassle getting someone to do it for you. And when they finally do, they break or don't look right on mobile devices. They're not built for marketing and SEO. They're expensive. You have limited or no control. And it takes forever to get one built and go live. So what's the best way to get you online in no time? Go to voiceactorwebsites.com. Like our name implies, VoiceActorWebsites.com just does websites for voice actors. We believe in creating fast, mobile-friendly, responsive, highly functional designs that are easy to read and easy to use. You have full control. No need to hire someone every time you want to make a change. And our upfront pricing means you know exactly what your costs are ahead of time. You can get your voiceover website going for as little as $700. So if you want your voice actor website without the hassle of complexity and dealing with too many options, go to VoiceActorWebsites.com, where your VO website shouldn't be a pain in the you-know-what.
VO2GoGo.com. Everything you need to be a successful voiceover artist. VO2GoGo.com's voiceover curriculum is a 5-time winner of Backstage Magazine's Reader's Choice Award for Best VO Classes and Best VO Teacher, David H. Lawrence XVII. It's 36 classes, online or in person, across a year-long course, featuring not just classes in the art of voiceover, but also in the commerce and science of running your voiceover business. And each month's class day includes a workout class for all participants. Unlock the entire curriculum at once. Over 45 hours of training, videos, audio samples, and live workouts where you work on mic. Get more details and sign up for the pro membership to save money at vo2gogo.com/VOBS. That's vo2gogo.com/VOBS. vo2gogo.com. Everything you need to be a successful voiceover artist.
In a world of audio, 2 minutes.
Thanks for joining us once again for another episode of VoiceOver Body Shop. Every Monday, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific.
VoiceOver Body Shop. I love when they talk BS about VO.
Alrighty, we have returned. And I wanted to highlight something using our amazing magical software, which is called
DawView 2017.
Alrighty. Well, a couple months ago, you told us about a new software, recording software.
I did?
That was free, because I guess it was open source. And hopefully not an open sore, but an open source.
Yeah.
And it's really, really simple and better than Audacity because it has a number of interesting features.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
better for the needs of voice acting, at least in my opinion.
Right.
Particularly because of that punch and roll thing that it does for some of you.
For those people that want punch and roll.
It does it for free, and it really does punch and roll.
That's right.
It actually works.
Which is really cool.
But what else does it do, Dan?
Well, let's take a look at it.
Yeah.
It will now appear right over my shoulder.
It's working.
That's right. Okay, so we actually had to put an extra mic on here so it would actually hear me. But
yeah.
All you have to do is hit record, and as you can see, it gives you a nice, clear view of your waveforms, and that's really cool.
And a good meter.
And a very good, and it's got a meter right to the side, as you can see.
Meter.
And as you can see, my modulation is absolutely perfect.
And let me mention also, this is Mac and Windows.
It's also Windows.
Yes, it is.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Now to stop recording, you just hit the record button again.
Mm-hmm.
And okay.
You're winding it like a reel of tape.
I guess. And I don't know if we can hear any of this, but
I don't think so.
Okay, there, it stopped. Okay, so there's the waveform that I created with this.
Yeah,
and it works just the way Twisted Wave does. I mean, you can just zoom in and out, and it's very accurate with with crossover points.
2-finger scrolling. Right.
There's scrolling. There's regular scrolling. I guess there's regular scrolling with using this thing down here.
You can grab that. I think you can do 2 fingers side to side too.
Yeah, which is really kind of nice.
Yeah.
But it also has something that Audacity has, but it sucks.
Not very good. Yeah.
I don't know how useful this is, but it might be a good training tool for you. It has a spectrogram.
Ooh. And they matched the colors and made them kind of look a little bit like Isotope or Audition.
Adobe Audition, absolutely. And you can make it as big and as small as you want.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, no, the resolution on it is pretty good.
Yeah.
And then you can see certain things that you may not see in your waveform up here.
That's definitely a better spectrogram than what's in
Audacity.
Audacity.
Yeah, because that one's blue and red and white, and
it's harder to read. Yeah,
it really
this is good.
This is actually really, really nice.
So this thing is a nice complement to Twisted Wave, because now you've got the punch and roll that Twisted Wave doesn't do natively,
right?
And you've got a spectral view that Twisted Wave doesn't do. Mm-hmm. So Thomas, if you're watching, I think you should do a Twisted Wave Pro and bake these features into Twisted Wave. You could sell it for another $50 or something, and we wouldn't have to use 2 programs to get our work done.
Right. And give us a nickel for each one you sell.
Sponsor us.
Yeah, maybe it's about time. So that's Ocean Audio. It's spelled OCEN Audio, one word. It's a free download, and it'll output. I mean, how many different things can you export it into? Let's see. We've got gives you everything. PCM linear. My goodness.
Yeah. It's
got ULAW.
ULAW for you audio phone system people.
Right.
It covers every version of software you can imagine.
MP3, Wave, OGG VOBS.
Which I can't believe we're not using OGG, because what OGG is basically is an open source MP3 thing.
Right.
So there's no licensing to use it. It works great, but momentum.
But it gives you all sorts of options.
Yeah.
So it's really, really cool. And
it's getting better all the time.
For nothing, can't beat that.
You can't beat that. Yeah.
So
give it a try.
There it is.
And see what
Ocean
you think.
Audio.
Yeah. It's a nice thing to have a secondary tool, just to have those extra features.
Yeah.
Good.
All righty.
What else is happening?
I think we have a question from somebody here.
Yep.
And that question is right there, right on my show notes, which we've all just taken a look at. Let's see here. It is
from Nathan Landman.
Nathan Landman had a question.
Is it Landman? I hope it's Landman. I'm working with Nathan too, so I should know how to say his last name.
Oh, okay.
He says, this is about Source Connect and ISDN bridging. He says, hi, Dan and George. Hi.
Hi.
Just wanted to let you know that I let Source Elements know that I heard about them through your awesome show. Oh, thanks.
Cool.
Man. Their live chat is really helpful for any newbies like me trying to navigate connecting with clients. I'm looking up ISDN bridges and hooking up a mixer for playback on Skype phone patches. My question for the show is, if clients ask, this is the $1 million question.
Yeah.
If the clients ask if I have ISDN, is it honest to say yes if I'm using Source Connect with a bridge, or do I really need VISDN to say that I actually have ISDN?
Good
Thanks
question.
a bunch, Nathan.
What do you think?
So this is a little, what's VISDN or VISDN versus what's Source Connect with a bridge?
Right.
This is some geeky stuff here, but hey, you know what? You guys got to know this stuff. VISDN is using your actual ISDN equipment. So if you have a Zephyr or a Prima box, or some kind of codec box with SPID numbers and all that, to use that equipment, you have to have something like VISDN or VISDN. That translates the SPIDs and the stuff that an ISDN box understands, into the internet. So now your box is plugged into the internet, but it appears to be an ISDN box. And that's important for studios that insist on having a real ISDN box, that they want to see SPID numbers. You got to have it for those that are going to be picky about it. And frankly, I have to admit, I think it's become a weed out. Just like, must have ISDN. Even the job may not even be on ISDN, but that's what's happening. So if you need to have ISDN, you have to have something like that. A bridge, on the other hand, if you're relying on a bridge, you can't really say you have ISDN.
You have a little bit of latency with a bridge.
There's a little more latency. The internet's involved, as it is with VISDN, but in a different way. And you can say that you have ISDN access, or maybe you have ISDN compatibility, or maybe just say access to ISDN via a bridge. You really don't want to try to fool them, because believe me, they record voice talent over ISDN and Source Connect day in, day out, and they immediately know the difference. It's not a sound quality issue. It's just a latency issue. once you add a secondary thing into the chain, so you're going from ISDN to Source Connect,
up to a satellite, down across a network somewhere.
Yeah, the latency goes up. The studio will notice it. They're just used to the way ISDN sounds, how much latency that there is.
Right.
Latency is when you talk, how long it takes for them to hear you.
When you talk, how long it takes to get,
Yeah, it's the round trip. You watch, satellite, and they say, back to you in the studio, Jim, and there's like a 2-3 second delay while they...
Yes,
anyway.
we're on.
Yeah, so that's the difference. If you're not using VISDN or ISDN, don't say you're using ISDN. It could, if you get the gig, it could get you in a little bit of trouble, and that would be a bad thing. We don't want that to happen to you.
But we want all of the producers to stop using ISDN and use internet-based stuff. So it gives them so much more access to so many more talented people.
That's true. And it saves a heck of a lot of money.
Yeah, well, there is that.
And the sound quality capabilities of systems that use the internet has a higher potential. You can get better sound quality without using ISDN.
So why the resistance?
It's, these companies invested gajillions of dollars into running this thing. They've learned how to use it. They want to keep using it.
But that was 20 years ago. The depreciation, it's like
I know.
You invest in new stuff.
I know. I've even spoken to ABC's engineers on the phone about it. Believe me, I know.
And what did you hear on the other end? Click.
No, they said, you know what? This is what they say: firewall problems, IT department issues, and they're resistance.
Right.
So that's what happens.
Yeah. Okay. Or as my stepfather Larry used to say, when you really don't want to do something, any excuse is as good as another.
There you go. That's it. That's exactly what's going on there.
So anyway, Johnny Gidcomb's coming up.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about ADR and looping and having a great time. And if you got a question for us, throw it in the chat room. Also, we must remind people that this is what George and I do for a living.
Oh, yeah.
We fix people's studios. We build studios. We show you how it's done. And, here in LA, we can actually walk into your closet.
Yes, we can.
I love when they say, don't worry, my underwear's not in there. It's fine. That's fine.
It's in the fridge.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that one?
I've never heard that.
No, neither have I.
Now I'm going to have to use that. Yeah. But if they want to get in touch with you to take care of some of their home studio needs,
I'm right over at georgethetech.com.
Oh, there it is.
You can check me out over there. All my services are available to you. You can schedule a consultation right there on the website. It's convenient, fast, and easy, and I'm ready. I'm at your service.
All right. And if you'd like to get a hold of me, I'm not hard to find. I'm just sitting here most of the time, unless I'm working on a studio somewhere or doing voiceover. But you can go to my website, which is homevoiceoverstudio.com, and check out all the stuff I do and drop off a specimen in the specimen collection cup. And
Of audio.
Good. Try that on the internet. Not so easy.
Yeah.
Or you can contact me at dan@danleonard.com. Mm-hmm. All right. Enough geeky stuff. Let's get into some really meaty voiceover stuff that's kind of interesting with Johnny Gidcomb right after this. Are you confused about how to set up and maintain a professional quality voiceover studio? No wonder. The information out there is mostly mythology. This is the best microphone to use. You have to have a preamp. You need a soundproof booth. This software is the best. Your audio must be broadcast quality. Consult with someone who knows the truth. Someone who's been there, in the trenches, doing voiceover for over 30 years. Someone with unparalleled experience with voiceover studios, who's worked with hundreds of voice actors and designed hundreds of personal studios. He knows how to teach and cares about your success. In one of the harshest environments known to voiceover, your home. Dan Leonard, the Home Studio Master. Separate myth from fact and get a handle on your personal voiceover studio. Contact the Home Studio Master at homevoiceoverstudio.com. Drop off a specimen of your dry audio for a free analysis.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about Source Elements. Fantastic product. I mean, we talk about them every week because they're a sponsor of the show. And it just comes up all the time because they make Source Connect, which is really, it's the tool to have if you're working with studios around the world. If you're working with studios that are accustomed to ISDN-like connectivity where your sound quality is very high and you're connected in real time to the other studio, this is the tool to have. You can get it right now. You can go to source-elements.com, and there's a 15-day free trial there. You don't even have to have a little iLock dongle-y thing. You just have to have a free iLock.com account to use it. You can get the standard version, and you can basically do it on a monthly basis. You can get a subscription. It's like $35 a month. Or you can get the Pro version, and you can do a rent-to-own if you need Pro. Definitely recommended for studios, but for voice talent, Source Connect Standard is absolutely all you need. And while you're in there, go check out Source Connect Now, their free version that you can download and start using right away. Thanks a lot for sponsoring us. We'll be right back here with Dan and Johnny.
You're still watching VOBS?
You're watching VOBS.tv. I don't know why. It's crazy what they do here. I think I'm going to go somewhere else and have a cheese sandwich.
Man, there's one show that I can't miss. It's called VOBS. And a lot of people are like, VOBS? What is that? That is BS about VO. And I love VO. How much BS is going to be in this show? There's only one way to find out, baby.
VOBS is still on? Seriously?
You're listening to VOBS.
Yep, this is VOBS, proving anybody can have a show these days.
VoiceOver Body Shop. Learn the latest in voiceover technology. Learn how to get rid of that. VoiceOver Body Shop. 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on VOBS.us.
And we're back here on VoiceOver Body Shop, and it's always great. One of the great things about the show is we get to talk to some really interesting people and talk about various interesting parts of the voiceover business, which is a very wide-ranging thing. Our guest tonight is Johnny Gidcomb, and he's done ADR, additional dialogue recording, on 5 of the top 10 grossing films of all time: Avatar, Titanic, The Avengers Age of Ultron, and Iron Man 3. And during his 20-plus years coordinating and casting ADR for feature films and television, Johnny has been grateful to work with some of the most talented directors, editors, sound supervisors in Hollywood before venturing into the looping world. And we'll talk about looping in just a few minutes. Johnny studied theater at the Boston Conservatory of Music, Theater and Dance, and was the CEO of the Groundlings Theater, well-known theater where he ran the facility and the school. And he has the greatest gummy bears on the face of the earth. Let's welcome Johnny Gidcomb. Welcome to the show.
You. Thank you very much.
Great having you here.
Good to be here.
Yeah, and they really are great gummy bears.
They are.
You know, just show them off there.
Addictive.
Yeah. We're like, oh yeah, they're just gummy bears. And you take one and you go, oh. Those are good. Anyway, ADR looping is such fascinating stuff. And I see that you first off, that you studied at the Boston Conservatory of Music. All great actors seem to have gone to really good schools. And that's one of them.
It is a good school.
You know, guys that go to Yale, you talk to some top stars, the Yale, Princeton, Harvard, and they want to be actors. Whatever. But so tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I grew up in a tiny town in Arkansas, Hot Springs, Arkansas, Bill Clinton's hometown, as I said earlier.
Yeah.
And my mother was a dance teacher, so I was always in the arts. And I knew from an early age that I was going to be in theater. So, that's what I did. I was in every play I could be in growing up. And then I went to college. I went 2 years to the University of Arkansas at Little Rock before I transferred to Boston Conservatory of Music, Theater, and Dance, and learned, really a lot of, great stuff there, as well as in Arkansas, believe it or not. They brought in some of the best teachers they could find because, Arkansas doesn't have the cultural, it's not known for its cultural icons there.
Right.
But it was really, really, I had great teachers I studied with from the Goodman Theater in Chicago, And I learned a great deal from them, as well as when I transferred to Boston Conservatory.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, so that was your education, but you've also directed a lot of theater, too.
Yes, I have.
Tell us about that.
Well, that sort of came out of the Groundlings, actually. When I first took over as the CEO of the Groundlings, I started teaching a bit there.
Tell us a little bit more about the Groundlings, because it's a pretty well-known theater.
Yeah, the Groundlings is great. I mean, you go to learn. The mistake that most people make when they first go to the Groundlings is that they want to go and they want to become a Groundling. Mm-hmm. I always say to people, don't make that your mission. Make your mission is to learn as much as you possibly can from the place. So, and that's exactly what I did. You know, I studied there as well as ran the place, and then I ended up leaving about 4.5 years after I'd started, and because I wanted to pursue other things, more directing things. I started my own sketch comedy group for a while, where we did shows everywhere from the Ice House in Pasadena to Mama Sans Sofitel. Used to have a theater in it that we ran for a really long time there. Then I started directing new works from a playwright, Tom Lavanino, that I sort of developed projects with for a great long time. And when that happened, one of my friends was a producer, pretty well-known producer, and he knew I knew all these actors. And so then he came to me and said, you know, could you help me out on this non-union film? We need some group ADR. And I was like, well, okay, I don't have any clue about what that is, but I'll give it a go. I never say no, always say yes to any opportunity.
Right.
So that's what I did, and lo and behold, 20-something years later, here I am.
You're still doing it.
And I'm still doing it and loving it.
Top of the world on it.
I am. I'm very fortunate.
Yeah. Now, looping and ADR are very unique parts of, well, it's part of the entertainment business. Dealing with movies and TV. And could you explain a little bit about what looping is and what ADR is? Because they're not exactly the same thing, are
Well,
they?
no, it is the same thing. It's
Sort
just
of.
called different names.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's group ADR is looping.
Okay.
And looping is group ADR.
Okay.
So it is really basically the same thing.
Okay.
But a group can be as many as little as 3 and as many as 30. I mean, I've had on the big features that I work on, I've had rooms full of 30 people, 35 people at one point. I think it was my biggest group.
Yeah.
So
it's like for crowd scenes and
it's
like
for
you're
everything.
in a restaurant and people are talking in the background.
Yeah,
and...
you're recreating. The reason why they do group ADR is basically financial for the studio, because if they had all those extras speaking, they'd have to pay a lot more than having 12 or 15 or 20 people doing what, the thousands that they hire to be extras. Mm-hmm. So we're really grateful for the extras. I always look at it as we're putting life into those extras. We're making them come to life. Mm-hmm. And if it's not there, you watch a film and you go, something's missing. What is this?
It's very quiet where they are.
And you can always tell about a B movie or a really bad movie based on the sound. You know, it can be shot beautifully, but if the sound is horrible, then no one wants to watch it.
I used to do sound mixing production on set, and can't tell you how many times I'd be like, "Can we just hold? I need to get some room tone," and they'd be like, "We don't have time. Moving on." Or I'll say, "I did not get clean dialogue on that." They're like, we're just gonna ADR that later.
We'll fix it in post.
We prepaid for the ADR package." And I'm like, "All right."
Yeah, gotcha. Everybody's like, "Let's fix it in post," and that's part of the problem. Actually, everybody wants to fix it when it comes down to the loop group. It's like, "Oh God, we didn't cover that, and we didn't do this. Can we put something on someone's back that makes that make sense?" So that happens a lot.
Yeah. Now, looping is a very different type of voiceover work because
it involves every type of voiceover skill. I mean, we do everything from newscasts to commercials to making up game shows and horse racing, any kind of sports commentator. We do all that sort of thing. You have to know a little bit about everything in group ADR, really, specifically, in the sense that, if it takes place and it's an Army thing, you have to know what, Army
people talk
like.
Right.
Our medical people, our paramedics, whatever it would be.
Right. So they're doing actual dialogue, but it's like you hear it, but you don't always hear it. It's there. Sometimes it'll like sneak through.
Well, each project is different. Some people use it more, some people use it less. It depends on the director, but it's always there even when you can't hear it. Right. Even when, I've worked on movies and busted my butt trying to make sure everything was right. And I would go to the theater and I would watch it. I go, I can't believe they didn't use that. I can't believe they didn't use that. But it's there. It's just mixed so low. And if it wasn't there, you would then go, what's wrong with this? Something's not sounding right.
It's like it's part of the room tone, which is something we talk about all the time. You need to always have this consistent room tone.
Right.
And with voiceover, it's just you. So you got to have the room tone. But in a film, that room tone is the environment and all those people talking whatever's going on in the background. And without it, especially now, I just saw Blade Runner 2049 in the Dolby Theater.
Yeah.
So the sound is
amazing.
Jarring.
Well, it's jarring.
It's loud.
The dynamic range.
Someone said it was really, really loud.
It's really loud. The dynamic range is insane, right? From loud to soft.
Right.
But when it's quiet, it's dead quiet. So if it's nothing there, it's very eerie. And that's an important part of the mix.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's one of my favorite things is, it was always done in MASH, where there was always the announcement in the background.
Right.
You see it in a lot of hospital shows now. And now if you really listen carefully, you're like, someone is just totally messing around back there. They're always telling jokes, or there's some inside story to all of this. Is that like ad-libbed, stuff, or?
Well, some of it is, but the majority of it is researched. I mean, Google is our favorite.
What did you do before Google?
It was hard. You watched a lot of old movies before Google. Actually, I remember when I first started, and I sort of self-taught myself how to do this, and I can't remember what it was. It was some sort of detective show, and I was like, where are we going to find out about what actual detectives say? And this was 25 years ago, before Google, and so we, would watch old movies and try to pick things from those at that time. But now, Google is the world.
Right.
So
you had to watch a lot of Jack Webb.
But the problem is you have to be a good enough actor to make whatever research you do sound like you do it every day.
Right.
This is your job. That you're not acting it. This is who you are. Okay, and that's a big deal. That's a big part of it. Is making whatever is coming out of your mouth seem believable.
Right.
Like you do it all the time.
A little non-PC, I don't know, but I mean, would you say that the average age of the people doing this kind of work, or the older set, it's not going to be a lot of younger people doing this kind of work?
It's across the board.
Really? So there's a lot of younger actors that have the chops now
absolutely.
that can do this kind
Actually,
of stuff.
younger actors now, I mean, I look for, I teach as well, and part of that is finding younger talent that can move up through the ranks. Because, I just did I do a lot of kids movies as well. Like I did this Simon versus the Homo sapiens, and it was all kids. Yes, love the name. It's based on a book, and it's really a great little movie. I think it'll do quite well. But it's all kids, and they don't have as much experience looping. So some of that is like trying to teach them as they're doing it as well.
So what's directing a looping session like? George and I have been to a bunch of studios, and we've seen the ADR stages and stuff. What actually goes on in there? What's the process?
Well, there's usually an ADR supervisor who has come with the cues for the day, and that can range anywhere from 75 to 100 to 150. It used to be like 100 was the max. Now it's like 150, sometimes 200 cues for a day, which is a lot.
Yeah.
And they're all different kinds of things we do. We do things called donuts and call-outs, and it depends on what it is in the scene and what the quality they're trying to get across in the moment. If it's a busy thing, then they want movement with it. But it all has to be real as well. I mean, I can't stress enough, there's no acting involved. It has to be real. It has to seem real. So that's why I cast age appropriate. I would never, I would never cast a 30-something-year-old to play high school. I cast 18, 19, or 20-year-olds, but I would never cast 30 or 40-year-olds. It's
not like TV where you have to cast these older actors that will look the same age and sound the same for the next 10 years.
Right.
They're not seen. So you can get the real people.
You have to get
the real deal.
But not only that, you get the real people because of the lingo. Like on this
age appropriate lingo.
Yeah. Because I don't know the lingo that 20-year-olds use or 18-year-olds or 15-year-olds. I mean, just working on that movie recently, they said something and I was like, what is that? What are you talking about? Can we even say that? So it's really, the lingo is really important.
Yeah. And you see that in a lot of the casting notices too, looking for real detectives or looking for real surgeons.
Right.
Like they have time to go do theater, but
there are a lot of people that, especially lawyers, for some reason, there's a lot of lawyers in the group ADR world in the sense that they all wanted to be actors. And like I have one guy that works for me occasionally who is a fire chief. And it's funny how his acting career went nowhere. And so he decided he was going to become a paramedic. He became a paramedic, then he became a fire chief. And then someone said, we need a fire chief. We need someone that knows about this stuff. He works all the time now. And he's like,
Fire
he works, he's worked for me on a lot of these other big movies.
The specialist.
Yeah. He knows all the dialogue.
Right.
So he doesn't have to do research. And he can tell us what they would say in this circumstance or that circumstance. So, that's a blessing. But it's funny because he has basically 2 careers. And he could probably leave with what he's making looping wise, he could probably leave his fire chief.
Yeah.
Because of the residuals and
interesting
everything else.
Yeah. So what skills do you need to do this? There are a lot of actors here in Hollywood. They live next door. They're everywhere.
Right.
So
they're serving you food.
They mostly, yes. Or at the checkout line at Gelson's. But what skills do you need to really excel at this? And what's the process you should go through to get involved?
You need to have a good improv background.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is off the top of your head. You need to be a good actor in the sense that I need to believe the things that are coming out of your mouth, that you are a real paramedic or a real firefighter or a real policeman, whatever that is. So that's where the acting comes in. But there's also techniques to it. And I've had people come and take my class that were from Juilliard, and you would think that they would have been incredible. But because they were good actors, but they couldn't get the techniques of the job down, meaning...
Yeah, what are some of the techniques you're talking about?
Well, like donuts or free and clears where, call outs. They just didn't... There's a technical side to it that they just never grasped. Like being close to the mic when it's when you're outside, being farther away from the mic when it's an office... takes place in an office. Those are things that you need to know about.
You got to tell us about some of this jargon, though. Donuts.
Oh, yeah.
Drop some knowledge
Tasty,
on
right?
us here. Yeah.
No, donuts are basically the actors are going around in a circle in front of the mic, walk by the circle, so that...
Oh, no way. They're actually physically
means something
moving
totally
around
different in radio.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're going around in a circle, and then every time you come back around to the other area, you're changing partners. So every time you come around, you're with someone else, so that you're never... the conversations are always changing.
Far out.
So, and cool. It can be complicated because if there are...
It's like square dancing.
Yes. It can be quite the show.
Wow.
As far as that is, we also, do a lot of cross buys, running back and forth in front of the mic.
Is it done with, I have so many questions. Is it done with just a single mic or do they stereo?
Oh, no, they stereo and
mic,
there's
sometimes more?
A mic in the distance.
Room mics,
When we did, I've worked on all of the last 3 ape movies, and when we did the voices for the apes, and we had like 6 or 7 mics all around one. It was like we never knew which one we were on.
Yeah.
We just trusted them that they were using the right ones.
They must be doing like some amazing surround, Atmos
Well, it's
or mix
it
or
is
something.
Atmos.
So the voice can move around.
like you'd hear a big gorilla come from the back of the theater all the way around to the front, or the baby whimpering in the corner. Yeah.
Wow.
It took us, we worked on that just this last one. I started in January and worked all the way January, February, March, April, May, almost to the end of May on that movie. And we did it every single Friday for 4 hours at a time because it's all our voices could handle, doing the ape sounds, because you lose your voice after a certain point.
Right.
So that was the deal with that.
What did the ape voices really involve? Just they were talking, as I recall.
No.
They're all grunting or. Oh, of course, right.
That kind of thing,
right.
And, when I played a lot of the baby apes as well. And we went through several different processes with that. When we first did the first one, no one knew how to do it. So we were recording at different speeds. We were, I had people with baritone voices. I had people with bass voices. I had tenors. And then we realized it was the higher voice and the medium voice that would work, and then they could manipulate us a little bit better. The second and third movie, we did it completely different. We didn't change the speed or anything. It was all done with recording out, and putting some, I don't know exactly what they put on us, what would you call that? They, filter it somewhat.
Effects
to make effects a little bit. So it, but if you go see, did you see this last one?
I haven't seen the last one.
I did not see the last
It's
one.
amazing. You should see it. It really is
Just
a beautiful film.
Just to see Andy Serkis do his thing.
It's really a beautiful film. And literally there were only 6 of us that did all those other apes.
Wow.
So it was a big undertaking.
Wow.
And each one of those films.
If you're just joining us, our guest is Johnny Gidcomb. He's a director for ADR and looping here in Los Angeles. And if you've got a question for him about this amazing stuff, George certainly has a lot of questions.
I got more.
He's got more. You spent a lot of time on movie sets. So throw them in the chat room, and our social media director, Jack Daniel, will relay those questions to us in our next segment so we can make sure we answer all of those. All right, so you have this group, Loop de Loop. That's your company.
Loop de Loop,
How does that? How's that all get together? You're the casting director and you're teaching.
It's everything. I cast, I direct it, I teach. It's just I was trying to come up with a little clever name when I first started, and I just fell in love with Loop de Loop because that's sort of what you're doing. It's looping back and back and back,
Right.
So.
Yeah. And there are other looping groups here.
Oh, there's hundreds. I'd say there's there's probably a good 20 of us that are the bigger groups, and then each TV show has them, and TV shows are different because they only have I think usually it's around 5 people, maybe 6 people, where I would hire on a feature anywhere from 14 to 20 to 30 people, depending on the feature.
It's being casted as a group, so to speak.
I get the cues, I look at the cues, and I go, who do I have in my roster that could do this, this, and this, and this? And then after I do that, I go, well, who would be a good backup if that person can't do what I think they can do? So I have to really know my talent. One big mistake I always think actors make is they think they can do everything. Mm-hmm. And they cannot. And so
you learn that after a few years.
Yeah.
The truth.
And I always tell them in my class, I'm like, you need to know what you're good at and what you're not. And really be aware of that. Be self-aware of what you're really good at. And then try to get better at the things that you're not as good at. But know what it is you're really good at, and then put yourself out for that first.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you're teaching this, I mean, obviously you have to teach people the terminology, and then you run them through a workshop of, this is
like a
hypothetical
regular day,
scenario,
and I teach them the do's and don'ts and what is required and how to get jobs. I teach them from A to Z. Is what I do.
Yeah, and it's like a whole day.
It's a whole day, and I have a basic class. It's a whole day class. Starts at 10, goes to 6, and I provide the lunch. And then I have an advanced class, which is a little bit scarier and harder. I say at first we go over everything we learned from the basic class, and then at lunchtime I become what's known as Mean Johnny. And and I run it like a real regular group session, in the sense that, you have to realize that when we come into the room, we're like at the tail end of the process. Okay, so these people have been on this feature, 6 months. They're over it. They're tired. They want to get it done. Right.
That was actually a question I had. Is the point at which ADR is recorded?
It's usually done toward the end of the film. The film is the film locked? Is the edit locked by then? No.
Okay.
No, but it's close to it.
Yeah.
It's usually toward the end of the film.
It's like clocking the scenes.
It depends, But I've done days, on some of the Marvel films we start early, and then as it goes we
you keep getting brought back in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's usually
they're always fine tuning things. Well, we want them to sound like this now, not like what we had originally thought.
Is it like video games? Well, you set up to 200 cues, but is that like a 4-hour limit?
No. That's 8. That's 8 hour day. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And that's. I mean, I don't want to say that we all, but it's 200 cues every single time. I'm saying we have done as many as 200 a day, but that's like you can't even stop and re-listen to what you've done, and which it makes it even more hard. You don't know what you're getting. Right.
That's done for budget reasons, I guess.
Right.
Huh?
That's
Pack
budget
in
reasons, and that makes it really hard. Yeah. We try to stay away from that.
All right. Now, one of the interesting things about this is that it's majority union work, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, there are maybe 1 or 2 little non-union loop groups, but it's a union gig. Yeah. So you get residuals as well, which is it's a day rate and residuals. So $9.33 plus residuals. That's what it plays.
Not too bad. Nice work if you can get it.
Yes.
As they say. But if someone's not in the union, where's the opportunity?
I say to them, if you're not in the union, try to get in the union. But if you want to do loop groups, then video games have a lot in common with group ADR, because you're doing efforts, you're doing you're lip syncing. So I always say, try to find a non-union video game and get cast in that, and it will give you some experience to then maybe move into a loop group or get a SAG card if you do that, and then you can possibly But then, I mean, it's very competitive. It's no different than regular acting. People always say to me, loop groups are so hard to get into. Yeah, just like regular acting is hard to get into.
Yeah.
On camera is hard to get into. So you just have to really, really want it. No one's going to just give it to you.
Right. All right. Our guest is Johnny Gidcomb. We're talking about ADR and looping, and we'll be taking your questions in just a couple of minutes. Toss them in the chat room, and Jack will get it to us. And we're going to talk about some other new stuff that you're working on that's going to be very interesting. So stay tuned. We'll be right back here on Voice Over Body Shop with Johnny Gidcomb.
Style. Power.
You're watching the home of the NFL.
The all-new iPhone.
Reserve your Disney World season pass now.
Through all the runny noses, 3 a.m. coughs.
An all-new American Crime Story, tonight on FX.
This week only, it's Pasta Fest at Olive Garden.
Heart rate, prime. Blood pressure, perfect.
I grew up with the classics, and now with StubHub, I can get authentic tickets to the best shows.
The all-new Chevy Cruze from $16,995.
Be inspired, then get the beauty that's uniquely yours at Sephora. This week at Home Depot, it's our Garden Fest sale with up to 30% off all garden tools, sod, and seeds.
Hi, it's J. Michael Collins, and these are just a few examples of the first-class demos my team and I are producing. If you'd like to have something similar, visit jmcvoiceover.com and click on the Demo Production tab to find out more.
All right. One of our favorite people is Harlan Hogan. Why? One, because he's a nice guy, he's a funny guy, but he's also very dedicated to what he does, and that is making sure you guys out there in the voiceover world have the best stuff that you possibly can for your home voiceover studios. He has everything. I mean, he has his signature series products like the VO1A, which George Whittam will now model for us. Show them, George. There it is. There's the VO1A with the appropriate VOBS flag on it. Which is a made-for voiceover microphone. All the stuff we use is made for making music. We're just sort of adapting it to our uses in our home studios and stuff. So he's gone ahead and made stuff that's going to work in that type of an environment. One of the other ones is the Signature Series headphones, which are an incredibly flat response headphone that gives you back exactly what you record without any coloration. And they're comfortable. They're made with leather and memory foam and a Twist-A-Flex headband, all these sorts of things. They're great items that will help you in your voiceover recording process, along with a lot of other great stuff. As you can see, it will take you to the website right now, and you can see some of the great stuff that they have there, the Portabooth Pro and the Portabooth Plus, which allows you to record on the road, and, of course, the voiceover recording sign, which I proudly display here in my studio. It is right above Jack Daniel's shoulder. There it is. Okay. Man, you're right on it tonight, Andrew. So all you have to do to get any one of these fine items is go over to voiceoveressentials.com. And the easiest way to do that is to just go to the bottom of the VOBS.TV page, and you'll see that picture of Harlan talking into his Portabooth Pro. Click on it. It'll take you right to VoiceOver Essentials. Let him know that we sent you there. And we must be sending a lot of people because he's been with us for 6.5 years and just won't leave. So go over there. Buy his stuff. Tell him we sent you. And Harlan, thank you for being a sponsor all these years. We really appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Harlan.
This is John Bailey, the Epic Voice, and you're watching VOBS.TV, Monday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 Newfoundland.
Hi, this is Bill Farmer, and you are watching VoiceOver Body Shop. It's great.
Having dinner tonight? How about having some VO, too?
VoiceOver Body Shop.
Have some voiceover with your dinner tonight on VoiceOver Body Shop, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific.
Are we at -4 dB? We're at -4 dB on VOBS.
Good thing we had that extra bumper so I could swallow my gummy bear. Great gummy bears. We're talking with Johnny Gidcomb, and we're talking about ADR and looping and having a good time talking about it. You're doing something new, though.
Yes.
Dealing in virtual reality. This is a new opportunity for the people in the voice acting community.
It's a virtual reality game show. And the first one I'm doing is based on the Ape movies, believe it or not. And it's really cool what they've come up with. I mean, you are one of the apes in this game, literally crawling across, trying to escape this, where they're doing experiments on other apes. And you're trying to escape. And when you look at your hands, they have these, I don't know what you call those things, not gloves, but your hands are apes. Hands.
Controllers or some kind of controller devices?
Yeah, it's a controller thing, and as you're climbing to try to get out, you look at your hands. They're actually ape hands. You look down, you see what they're doing to the other apes, with the experiments that they're doing.
So it's a game show.
So it's a game.
Oh, it's a game, not a game
trying
show.
Trying to escape.
It's a game. Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
Trying to escape where they're imprisoned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. So it's cool. So we're just now starting that. And they came to me, of course, because I'd done the other 3 ape movies. And so they're like, hey, we're trying this out. Would it be something you're interested in? Casting it and also doing the ape voices. And I said, absolutely.
Was there much change in technique for this type of thing? Or
Well, we're just now literally getting into it. We're not going to start shooting anything until November 6th, and I'm going to start casting probably next week. So, yeah.
Oh, so well, good luck with that. And that's going to grow into all
I
sorts
think
of
it's
new
really
things.
going to be big. I think people, I was a little skeptical at first until I really got into it. And
Did they have you try it?
Yeah.
Get some previs of it, see what it's going to be like?
And I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Uh-huh.
I was like, who's going to buy this? But it's universal, so it'll work with any
headset.
With any
Mac or PC or console games? Console? Yeah. Uh-huh.
It'll work with any of those.
Wow.
Very good. Any final words of wisdom before we tackle all the questions from our vast audience?
Final words of wisdom about getting into group ADR?
Yeah.
You really have to want it. I mean, I would say, it is highly competitive, but if you think you have something to bring to it, I'm always looking for new talent, and I know other loop group leaders are as well. If you speak a foreign language, that's a really good in right now. Right now I'm working on a movie that I have to find Cheyenne speakers, Indian Cheyenne speakers. So I never know what kind of language I'm going to have to find, or which I've had everything, any kind of. I thought I'd seen it and heard it all until they came to me with Cheyenne, and I was like, huh.
Wow.
But I've found them already. So I always say if I can find one or two, I'll find them all.
They're going to know the rest.
Yeah.
They know everybody.
Right.
Okay, let's get to some of the audience questions, and thank you for submitting them, and thanks, Jack, for forwarding them to us. First one is from Jeremy Burgett, and he says,
how is the hiring process different for looping versus on-screen principals? Same audition process, or how's it different? Also, it sounds like most of the work is done on location. Is that true?
Most of the work is done on an ADR stage at a studio.
Right. Maybe that's what he means. It's not something you would do at your home.
No, you cannot do it at your home. I mean, you can. I mean, I have had, like, on the very first, was it the First Date movie? It might have been the First Date. No, the second one. They wanted a lot of newscasts from around the world to open the movie. So I just called a bunch of good voiceover people that I knew and had them submit through their home studios.
Yeah.
They used them. They wanted them all to sound different.
Yeah.
So whatever they were sent that we used. And so they didn't even have to come in on the stage. They didn't re-record it. They used their auditions. So if you were lucky enough to get in, you got paid for your audition.
Fascinating.
So, but most of the time, it is on a big sound stage at one of the studios.
So how is the process different versus like an on-screen?
Well,
job
casting,
for an actor?
loop group coordinators like me, we cast, we coordinate it, we direct it, we do it pretty much.
You wear a lot more hats. It sounds like.
There's not just one hat. No, it would be, I have a pool of around 2,000 or 3,000 actors that, and I go, who would be good for this? Who, blah blah blah. And sometimes I just mix it up. No one in my group works every single job. I always am mixing it up. Mm-hmm. So, I always say I'm only as good as the people I surround myself with. And so I am always trying to find whoever's best for that particular job. If they know about police really well, then they're going to get that job. If they know, if it's got a lot of police, if it's got a lot of military, I have my military people, I have my police people, I have my medical people. So it just depends, on what's needed in each project.
Yeah. Maxine Dunn asks, I'm an experienced voice actor, but have no experience at all in ADR. How would you suggest getting into that field? Does it require a demo?
No. Demos, I listen to demos when I'm looking for something in particular that I can't seem to find through my own people. but the best way is to take a class in either my class or Lynn Ann Zager teaches a class. There are not too many. I think Barbara Harris has a class, but there are not too many classes out there. I mean, I have 2 classes coming up. October 29th is sold out. And November 5th, I think I have 2 slots left. But so, I've started a lot of people in the business. I actually started a lot of loop groups that actually compete with me now in a way. I mean, I have this one girl who came and took all my classes, and then the next thing I know, she kept sending students to me. And I was like, what's going on? Why is she sending me all these students? Well, she was sending them to me so that she could grow her talent pool. And they were like must hires from producer requests that didn't know anything.
Oh, I see.
So, and then she came clean and said, oh, I started my own. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I find it a pat on the back. It doesn't bother me at all. Even when they steal jobs from me, it doesn't bother me because it's like, you know what? That's good. It's not a problem. There's enough work for everybody.
It's good to hear that.
Yeah. Can I ask your question?
Sure.
Since you wrote the question.
Let's mix it up.
Is a lot of the ADR stuff time sensitive? I mean, do you get like a notice? We need you tomorrow. This has to get done.
Oh yeah. And you don't get that much notice. I mean, a lot of films. They gave me a heads up on the Cheyenne thing because they thought I might have problems finding Cheyenne speakers. But usually I see a film a couple of days before, and so then I'm casting immediately. And we say if I see the film on Tuesday and we're doing it on a Friday, so it's all very quick turn-up. Sometimes the day before.
Pretty fast.
Yeah.
You really realize how much you are a sort of a cog.
Yes.
In a huge machine.
Yes.
And it's your turn for the cog to turn.
Right.
And your job is just as important as everybody else's, and you have to be ready.
Right.
Hollywood is like, I remember this, we always use the phrase, hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
Because you're waiting
this
and
is
then
hurry up and do it.
Hurry up and wait and then do it. And then be ready when they say it's your turn. Boom.
Right. I mean, we start, at 9 a.m. and we're straight through till 6. There's like a couple of 5-minute breaks and... Wow. It's a very tiring, demanding day. For the simple fact that when you're doing it, you're improvising a lot, but you have to stay focused every second and it's in a dark room, and you really, when you walk out of there, I say you should be exhausted from the concentration you have to have.
Imagine. Oh, man.
Yeah. Perhaps I was exhausted just being on Let's Make a Deal. I mean, it was... That was a long, loud afternoon.
I was exhausted being in the The Voice. I was in the audience for The Voice.
Geez. Yeah,
that was an 8-hour freaking
right.
day.
Yeah,
just being in the audience.
No, I couldn't do that.
Now you have to do this.
Yes,
that's right.
And it's cold. It's cold as all get out.
Oh yeah,
they want to keep you awake.
Jack, you get to ask your question.
Oh boy.
Jack up Jack's mic.
It's jacked up.
Jacked. This is actually referring to an earlier conversation we had, but let's pretend it didn't.
Okay.
Aside from "Oh my God," what are some of the other things ADR actors need to avoid saying? And are there any good stories about somebody having said something that led to issues?
Oh wow! Okay,
that is talk about.
That's well, there are, and I don't necessarily want to talk about them. But no, you obviously you can't say cuss words. But you know what? Everything I say can also be, you're always supposed to be positive. Okay, that's another big thing. You don't ever say negative. What's the first rule of improv? Yes, and, right? Okay, so anything you do, you're not going to go and pretend like you're in a restaurant and say, "Ooh, these eggs suck. I hate this." Where's the waitress? I can't find it. You're not going to be negative that way. And believe it or not, the negativity thing goes down the line. Like if we're doing call outs and we're yelling, "Hey Joey, what's up?" or whatever it is, and if someone says something negative, you will be so surprised and shocked how that negativity goes down the line. And it's really changed people's lives because they don't realize how negative they are until it happens. So that's a big thing to try to learn. But going back to your question as far as, you can't. I mean, there are just a lot of do's and don'ts. You can't say, "Oh my God." And why can't you say, "Oh my God"? What would the reason why you would think that?
I heard you
well,
say
you
it, so
said
I don't
that.
wanna
Okay.
say it.
Okay. Well, the reason why you can't say, "Oh my God" is because on the airline versions, they have to cut every single one of those out. And people go, "Well, why on an airline version would you have to do that?" Because people are 30,000 feet up in the air, and it might offend someone. And there's no way for them to get off that plane.
Right.
So they make them cut all of them off. No God, no Buddha, no Jesus, no nothing like that. But as I was saying before, everything changes. You're told not to be negative. I just did this film, I guess I can talk about it, called The Mountain Between Us.
Oh, great. This looks great.
Yeah, it's a beautiful film. It's shot beautifully. And part of it takes place in an airline, an airline ticket counters. And what's your first thing you want to do at an airline ticket counters when all the flights are canceled? Right. You want to be negative and upset and go, "Oh, I can't believe this." And so when we first started, the loopers were like not being negative about it. And then they stopped us and said, "Guys, this is the one time you need to be negative." And so they were so not used to it. I mean, it literally took us a couple of takes to really, I'm like, put yourself in the air. This is you. And they, all the flights are canceled. You have all these things to go to and you can't get to them. So, and it goes as well as cussing. There have been, I did this film called Cedar Rapids, which is a very funny film. If you haven't seen it, you should rent it. And in one of the scenes, it takes place in a drug house. And it's really funny, and it's really a den, really a drug den. And so we do a TV version and we do a film version. But it took me a couple of minutes to go, guys, you can cuss in this film. You can cuss right here. You can say the bad words here. But you're so used to not doing that, then you have to reprogram your head to do it.
Right.
So
interesting. Well, our producer, Catherine Curran, gets the last question tonight. I guess she's actually watching the show.
Oh, wow. Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Catherine.
Actually, there's a couple more after her.
Oh, there are. Okay, well, she
refresh.
Asked, yes. Did Johnny use singers for La La Land? And with Avatar, how did you land that job? What was your introduction to the film's production? Boy, that's a three-part question. She doesn't ask many questions, but
thanks. So what was the first part of it?
Did you use actual singers for La La Land?
Not really. We didn't do much. I think maybe one cue we added a little bit of singing, but not really. Not like, it wasn't we didn't sing in every single number, basically. We added things, we pumped up things that should have been pumped up, but no, we did not actually sing. We have in other movies, but just not that one.
Actually, that's a good. That just made me think of that. Does that you get called upon for that? Like we just we need a little bit of singing here, guys.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, and it's I always have when that happens. I make sure that I cast people that are real singers as well. Because there's nothing worse than getting on a stage and then realizing someone is tone deaf and they're sitting in front of the mic. I've literally had to say, okay, you just step out for just a minute.
Slightly embarrassing at the moment, yeah.
And they don't even realize they're tone deaf. And you'd be amazed at how many really good voice actors that know their voice can be tone deaf. So, what was the other part of the question?
It was about Avatar. How you landed that, and that must have been unique because you got people speaking a language that didn't exist.
Yeah, that was a hard one. What happened was that this producer that actually got me started, John Landau, he approached me and said, I guess I can talk about this. Jim Cameron wanted to do like a pre-visualization, so they had me come in and read the script in his office. I could not take it away. Could not take it. So I had to read it. Couldn't take any notes. I had to remember all the different parts that he wanted cast. And then I had to come back with all those people to do it. And they could not read the script ahead of time. Thank God the girl that speaks Na'vi, the girl that I brought in that day, spoke a couple of multiple languages. She spoke French and English and I think Spanish. So when she saw it written and phonetically, she blew him away because she was pronouncing the words correctly. And I was like, a big, huge sigh of relief right there. But that's sort of how I got started. So after I did that, then he was like, okay, well, we're gonna have you on this movie. And I was like, pass that test. So that's how that happened.
Very cool. And we got one more question from Jack, but I get to ask it this time.
Okay.
All right. Is there an ADR equivalent of a cut down in the sense that they might want to use work you and your group have done in the past and then apply it for a different use?
No, you can't. They would have to pay us all again.
Right.
They tried to do that on I think somebody came, some British company came, and they wanted to use our voices, our apes, in a video game they were making. And I said, you can't do that. I mean, they literally called me, and I said, no. You can't take our voices that you paid us for this movie. That doesn't mean you can sell them.
Right.
Those are they would have to pay us.
You don't have to do it again. They could reuse it, but they'd have to license it or some kind of a buyout.
There would have to be a buyout of something.
Yeah, just like in voiceover.
Right.
Somebody tries to do that to you.
Got to watch out for that.
Yeah. One last question from Tracy Reynolds. When doing ADR, do actors keep their voices on an even level? Like no whispering or yelling unless called for? I imagine it's all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, usually what you have to do is keep your voice up, and you speak a little bit louder than you normally do, because you can always turn them down, but you can't turn them up any higher than what you're recorded at. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So most of the time, and that's what makes it a little bit harder to be real in the moment, because you have to keep your voice up, but at the same time be real.
Wow.
So that's what the challenging part is, acting wise. But there are some quieter cues, but most of the time your voice always has to be a little bit more projected than you're used to.
Great. If someone wants to take one of your classes, how can they get a hold of you?
Best thing to do is go to loopdeloop.net, and I have a little page that says workshops, little tag that says workshops, and you can sign up there.
Very good.
I don't know when my next ones will be. Probably not to the future, in the next year, because I only have 2 spots open for the November 5th class, I believe, and the other class sold out. But I don't advertise, so sometimes I just wait until I have enough people to fill a class, and then I'll have a class. I keep a running, or until people bug me to death.
If there's not one in the calendar, just email you and say, hey, please let me know.
Put me on the list to get a flyer.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Great.
Johnny, thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
I enjoyed it.
This is fascinating information and important stuff for people to know.
And Maxine Dunn says, this is amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Maxine. All righty. Well, George and I will be right back to wrap things up right after these messages, so don't go away quite yet.
Your dynamic voiceover career requires extra resources to keep moving ahead. Now there's one place where you can explore everything the voiceover industry has to offer. That place is voiceoverextra.com. Whether you're just exploring a voiceover career or a seasoned veteran ready to reach that next professional level, stay in touch with market trends, coaching, products, and services while avoiding scams and other pitfalls. VoiceOver Extra has hundreds of articles, free resources, and training that will save you time and help you succeed. Learn from the most respected talents, coaches, and industry insiders when you join the online sessions, bringing you the most current information on topics like audiobooks, auditioning, casting, home studio setup and equipment, marketing, performance techniques, and much more. It's time to hit your one-stop daily resource for voiceover success. Sign up for a free subscription to newsletters and reports and get 14 bonus reports on how to ace the voiceover audition. It's all here at voiceoverextra.com. That's voiceoverxtra.com.
Crazy.
Hey, not breaking through with your auditions? Ready to take your bookings to the next level? Get ready to dive deep into the VO Dojo's Voiceover to the Power of 10. How to bring 10 times more copy and deliver the depth and nuances that win the audition. Join working voiceover pro Tish Hicks. She's done stuff for Subaru, Citibank, GTA5, Stinky and Dirty, founder of the VO Dojo, as she gives you the tools you need to dig deeper and deliver the results that get you noticed and multiply your bookings. This 90-minute virtual workshop will expand your voiceover career exponentially, going small, diving into the nuances of a piece of copy, and thinking big to move your career to the next level. It's much more than simple tips and tricks. It's high-level training that gets you thinking like a seasoned pro and right to the heart of what makes voiceover effective. The kind of sophisticated and nuanced approach that makes voiceover. Dojo, something you will not find anywhere else. Sign up today. Voiceover to the power of 10. Go deeper into your copy and get the results you've been looking for on Wednesday, October 25th from 9 to 10:30 a.m. That's just a couple of days from now. Register now. It's only $47. And go to Powers of 10 sign up. Use the promo code VOBS for $10 off.
Before time began, there was VOBS.TV. Watch or else.
Learn the latest in voiceover technology, business, and good old-fashioned acting.
I really like your bracelet. It's awesome.
Hey, Paul, where did you get that watch?
That's really cool.
And a hamburger with no cheese, please.
Every Monday, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, only on voiceoverbodyshop.com.
Learn the latest in voiceover technology,
Business,
and good old-fashioned acting. Hey, Paul, I really like your suit. Where did you get it? It looks good on you. This is VOBS.
And we are back for one final little segment here. We need to tell people what's going to come up on the show. First, I'd like to thank Johnny Gidcomb for being here.
Yeah, thanks, Johnny.
It was a great segment and very informative, and we know you all enjoyed it and learned a lot. But next week on the show, we have the one and only Pamela Muldoon. Pamela Muldoon is a social media guru. She knows her stuff about social media and voiceover. Some people say, why should I use social media? Pam's going to go over that and show you how to make the most out of social media. She's really good at that.
And I'm going to be remoting in on this one.
You're going to be in Boulder?
Well, this time I'll be in Pennsylvania.
Oh, you're going to be really far away.
Yeah, that's right. I'm flying to Colorado this week, celebrating my birthday in Colorado with Maxine, and then we're going to fly to Pennsylvania for another birthday celebration with my folks.
She gets to meet the parents.
Oh, yes. That's what we're talking about right here.
All right.
It should be a lot of fun. We're having a PA extravaganza, so
all right.
I'll be in my parents' living room on the show, I think.
Okay. And we'll be having a big party here. Let's see. And then on October 30th, the voiceover attorney, producer, floor wax, Rob Siglampaglia will be here. He is the author of Voiceover Legal. He is the authority on the legal issues surrounding your voiceover career and all those contracts and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that'll be fascinating. Voiceover Masteries that weekend. Everybody's going to be in town. Everybody wants to be on the show on Monday. So people are like, hey, I'm going to be. Can I come in?
Well, you can have someone sit here if you want.
That's right. I probably could. Maybe I'll have Jack sit over here. And
I think you should, actually.
Yeah. So if you'd like to be on the show, if you'd like to be in the studio for the show and be part of the audience, just write to us at theguys@vobs.tv and say, hey, I want to come in. And I'll send you the address, and then you have to eat it so you can't show it to anybody else. I'll mail it to you and chew it out. Anyway, so that's coming up on October 30th. And we can't wait to see who we're going to have in November.
Oh, yeah, lining them up.
Who are our donors of the week? I know Eric Aragoni is one because I actually ran into. You're not you're a local yokel when you start running into people after you've only been here for a couple of years.
It's great.
Saw Eric last night at a great screening for Debbie Derryberry's documentary on her career, which was actually very good.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be on Netflix eventually.
I hope so. I know the producer certainly would like to get it on Netflix. Yeah. Followed her around for 5 years. Yes. Anyway, who else are our donors of the week?
He was definitely a donor. We had donations from other folks like Maria Uribe or Uribe. or Urib?
Uribe.
Sorry.
Close enough.
Terrible. Tracy H. Lawrence. Tracy H. Lawrence? I just mashed together two names. Tracy H. Reynolds. It is time to go. He donates pretty much every week. Thank you so much, Tracy. Others from like Brian Roush, who's been donating regular to us. Graham Spicer. Thanks, Graham. How you doing? And also Sarah Borges and Andrew Kaufman. Man, we've got a lot coming in the last week. So
That's
thank
great.
you. Thank you.
We appreciate it. And if you'd like to donate to the show, all you have to do is just go right above my shoulder here, and there's a button right on our page that says Donate Now. Take you right to PayPal. Great if you could set it up. Give us $1 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month. You know, what's the premium you get? You get to watch this show every week.
Whatever you want.
Right. Let's see. What else is going on here? Oh, our voiceover for the opening was done by John Henry Krause, and you can too. And eventually, when you get back, we're going to do a new intro to the show. I'll take the time to actually write it this time. Sure. Okay, sure. You still got the coupon code?
And my coupon goes till October 22nd. It's not over yet. So if you want to get 30% off on your consults with me over at georgethetech.com, when you check out, put in Libra 2017, all one word, to get 30% off.
Outstanding. We can if you watch the show on YouTube afterwards, by tomorrow, Jack DeGolio will have the show notes there, so it'll be able to follow it right down, every single thing that we talked about.
Time indexed.
Thank you, Jack, for doing that. We also are on a podcast. If you like watching the show, that's great. If you got to go on the road a lot or something, great to have a podcast. You can get that on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, or ewabs.podbean.
That's right.
.com.
By the way, and if you're listening on the show and you want to be here live or watch it live so you can be in the chat room, we're on 6 p.m. Monday, pretty much every week, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Find us over at VOBS.tv, all you podcasters.
Right.
Podcast listeners.
Right. And we talked about if you want to be in the studio, just write to us. Right. But we do need to thank our sponsors one more time, like Harlan Hogan.
VO XTRA.
Source Elements.
VO to Go and the Rehearsal app.
The VO Dojo.
VoiceActorWebsites.com.
J. Michael Collins Demos and their new sponsor, and thanking them all for helping us provide this uninterrupted, technically magnificent stream. Flawless tonight.
Perfection.
It's early yet. All right, so thanks to Marcy, who's not here this week, so we would have been out here anyway.
We broke in.
Yeah, a special thanks to our producer, Catherine Curden, who did a great job of getting us ready for Johnny Gidcomb. Jack Daniel, for our social media director, for running the chat room, and our amazing on-the-ball floor director.
Well rested, too.
Yes, Andy Bushwitz. Yeah. All righty. Well, and Jack Daniel for the show notes, of course.
And Lee Penny for being Lee Penny.
I almost forgot. How can we forget Lee? Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. Voiceover is not an easy business.
No.
If you've picked this job, good luck to you. You got to work hard. You got to study. You have to be informed. And that's why we're here every week to help you out, at least from the technical end, and to meet some of the interesting people that do some of the interesting work in our business, and you can learn from them. So that's going to do it for us. I'm Dan Leonard.
I'm George Whittam.
And this is Voiceover
Body Shop,
or VOBS. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next Monday night.
In a world of audio, two men knew what they were doing, or at least they have you convinced. They put the BS in VOBS.tv.